through 3 hours of the regular show on terrestrial radio, and you wanted a little bit more, so that's why you found the Gun Talk After Show podcast, where we saved all the best things that we can't say on regular radio. Now here's Tom, Michelle, and Jim for the Gun Talk After Show.
After show time, we have Jim Kinsey over there and Michelle Cleland over there. It's good to keep you guys separated. I think that's a good thing. When I started talking about cheese balls, you got all excited. What was the deal there?
Well, this is great. I went to Sam's. I got a buddy of mine, Tina, who's a shooter too. And I was telling her all about, because we talked about a couple weeks ago about reactor targets. And I said, cheese balls are really cool. And you had told me about them a couple years ago, and I tried it, and they are cool.
Right.
So we were walking around at Sam's, and I saw them, and I grabbed them, put them in the cart, and brought them home. And she was visiting later, and she said, "Oh, cheese puffs, my weakness." I said, "Well, I bought them for the range." She's like, "Oh, come on, a couple? You're not going to miss a couple." I'm like, "Yeah, you're right." Well, they're about 2/3 gone now. We haven't got out to the range.
I was just going to say, they're like potato chips. Once you start, you can't stop.
Yeah, and it's like, and I'm trying to, actually, I was trying to do some work, so I'm looking at my mouse. My mouse is orange, and this is crazy.
Well, the cheese puffs, the cheese ball thing, it's the same as with guns and with magazines. 1 is none, 2 is 1.
Right.
So you got to buy 2 so you make sure you have 1 available.
Well, that sounds good. That's good philosophy to follow, because it's, I tell you what, we start chowing, and it's like, well, yeah, I've already had a few more, and what's a big deal? Next thing you know.
And they're mostly air anyway, right? It can't hurt you.
Right, they're just air and fake coloring.
Yeah, that's right.
All things good for you.
That's right. Fake flavor, fake coloring, everything else. Yeah.
But now that I have a thumb saver, I will give you a bona fide gun shooting report next week.
We have a real range report because he actually did something shooting-wise here.
Yeah.
So what'd you do?
Go figure. Well, my thumb filed an official protest, and I have a real
P365, wasn't it?
My P365. I love the gun. I'm not. Don't get me wrong. It's just after I load in 3 or 4, I just don't have the thumb strength anymore to go beyond that. Okay. So, and I'm not going to carry a mag with 4 rounds.
Not 3 or 4 rounds, right? 3 or 4 mags.
No, after 3 or 4 rounds in the mag, my thumb's getting sore. Okay. So it's just it's a real tight spring, and you got 15 rounds in them because it's the extended mag. It's going to have a tight spring, and I get that. Sure. But I'm like, no, I'm tough. I can get. So then I had my daughter try it, and she's like, "Dad, I can't even get 1 in here. You're nuts." So I went online and I got I should remember the manufacturer's name. I can't. It was a $12 plastic speed loader, Marker or somebody or other, and it's great. It came in the mail the other day, and of course I'm doing it. And I said, "Check this out, Jazz," and she walked in the other room. She saw a bunch of rounds on the table. I said, "I'll load these up." She's like, "Yeah, right, Dad, sissy." She comes back 30 seconds later and they're done. I'm like, "Yep, there you go." She's, "No way. No way."
I've been practicing.
Yeah, and then I showed her. She's like, "I knew you were up to something, Dad." So, yeah, it was cool. But, man, what a little thumb saver.
See, you thought Thumb War game was a waste of time.
Well, see? Could develop you as a child. You could get a career manually loading for somebody.
Who knew?
But yeah, if their life, I don't know if you folks have ever used one, but man, I don't know if I'll ever load without one anymore. It's amazing. I'm sure they make them for every mag.
Imagine when I'm out at a gun site and I'm seeing everybody out there who's using the double stack mags. They're using these now because you're going to be shooting 1,000, 1,500 rounds in a week, and I mean by the end of the week you've torn your thumb up just from loading mags.
Right. I can see that now. Man.
So yeah, that's cool. All right, now I had same kind of thing. Went out shooting this week. Shot the Springfield Armory XDM 10 millimeter. Mm-hmm. And, it holds 15 rounds of 10 millimeter in a mag. Well, it would if I could load them, but I get to about 12, and that's all I got. And, my thumb's not up to the task. So I am ready. I will now be a convert to that. I mean, love the pistol. Man, the thing shoots great. Mm-hmm. I shot it with some practice ammo and then tried some defensive stuff and then some bear loads in it. And really like the pistol a lot.
It's just a matter of physics, isn't it? I mean, you've got that many rounds in a smaller mag. You're gonna, at least in mine, a smaller mag.
Well, you're compressing the spring at the end, and it's just tough. It stacks up. So, no, I mean, it's a smart move. Now, you could make the argument, and I know some people do. They said, okay, if I have a 15-round mag, I'm going to put 13 in it.
Right.
And some people say it's more reliable. I know with AR mags, a lot of folks say on 30-round mags, 27 or 28 rounds, it's just simply going to be more reliable that way.
Yeah, and that makes sense too.
So I don't know, but So I know we were talking before the show because you were carrying a Bodyguard before. Now you got the 365, and you tried the pocket carry, and it's just a little bit big for pocket carry.
Yeah, like I was telling you off air. You did cargo pants or something, but that's another nightmare you're entering into. But a standard pocket, no, it's slightly too big, and that's even I carry with the 12 and the 15 is my backup, but even with the 12, it's just a bit too big. And I didn't get rid of my Bodyguard, for the record, for all you Smith & Wesson fans. No.
No. It's a sweet gun.
The other engineer, Tom's borrowing it to see if he wants to buy one. He won't be buying mine, though.
I've become a real fan of the guns in that 365 size. And Michelle, like we were talking earlier on the show, the Glock 43 is really a nice pistol.
Extremely popular. And even, I think, for women, I think they knocked it out of the ballpark with that one because the Glock, the 42s, the 43s, they're nice to shoot, where I don't always like to shoot a 9mm, be honest with you. I don't like to shoot a 9.
It's funny you mentioned the 42. I ran into a guy the other day, and I've had a 42 because it came out before the 43. And for those who don't know, the Glock 42 is a 380, and the 43 is only slightly larger, and it's a 9mm. And he had a 42. And I thought, well, that's interesting because I kind of always liked the 380, but a lot of the trainer types, you think, well, he says, no. He says, the 42 is so sweet, and it's so easy to shoot. And, it's shooting at 380, which is going to be less recoil. So just I throw it out there. It's a possibility for folks.
And part of my problem is the fact I don't have a very large hand. So for me, those 9s aren't fun because, the 19 is too big. It's too fat for my hand. So I can't get a good enough grip on it. So I say this, and the 365 is great for that. It's a little too heavy for me to be able to carry it, just, weight-wise. But it's a great shooting gun.
Isn't it funny how picky we've got in the past 10, 15 years?
The fact that we can be that picky.
Yeah, I mean, before
I was just going to say, isn't it wonderful that we can be this picky?
Absolutely.
Because before it was just like you had to adapt and, to whatever it was. Now you go, oh, no. I really don't like that because it's just slightly too thick in the grip area for me. And I'm going to go, and yes, there is one that will fit your hand now.
Well, and if you talked about carrying before, 10, 15 years ago, you were only talking to your immediate family. You weren't talking about it out loud.
Interesting point. I hadn't thought of that, but you're right. Yeah. It's just like people would think you're crazy. What kind of a loon are you? And now it's like, oh yeah, I carry. Oh yeah, I carry. She carries. My wife carries.
You're
my
at
sister
the gas
carries.
station. Yeah, what you got on today?
Yeah, I want to get a Got Gun T-shirt, but I think I might be a little over the top.
It might.
Oh, okay. Where I saw the Got Gun sign recently that I thought was perfect.
Yeah.
Was I was up at the Boondocks Training Academy, right? So they got all these gun classes. And in the restroom where you go, when they at the sign as you're leaving the restroom, it's Got Gun. So did you leave it in the bathroom?
Perfect.
That happens a lot, actually.
Well, what they have, and they borrowed this straight from Gunsight, they admit it because Gunsight's got it, is on the wall next to the toilet, there's a little stand or a rack on the wall with two wooden dowels, a smaller one and a larger diameter one. One's 9mm, one's 45. You take your gun off and you slide the muzzle over the wooden dowel, and that holds your gun while you're doing your business. And then when you get up, you just pick your gun up, slide it off of the wooden dowel, put it back in your holster when you leave.
Who would have thought of that?
I know. You think,
great.
Okay, somebody, well, you know where that idea came from. It's like somebody was sitting there in the restroom. They came up with this great thought, right? Where so many great thoughts have come from.
Right.
Right.
And such great reading material.
That's right. He ran out of reading material. The guns and ammo he'd already read.
Right.
So came up with this idea. So there it is.
But I mean, it happens all the time. People leave their guns on the top of the toilet, or it slips out of their pocket or whatever, and just it's crazy.
Yeah, and it's a real thing. And it's got your pants are down around your ankles, and your gun's in your holster, and you don't want it sitting there. So what do you do with it? So they put it on the back of the toilet. They put their pants back on. The holster feels as though you have your gun on.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And you just forget to put the gun in the holster.
I appreciate all those visuals. Can we pick this up on the backside of this commercial?
Yeah, thank you.
In other words, what you're saying is we need to change topics when we come back.
Yeah, it's not toilet talk.
Okay.
Yeah, no.
Do we have a Charmin commercial?
Don't squeeze me, bro.
Keep cool this summer in Proper Summer Weight Collection. Made from our lightest material ever, the durable, moisture-wicking Summer Weight Collection from Proper beats the heat on duty, on the range, and around town. Designed to keep you cool when the world around you heats up. Visit Proper.com to learn more about the super breathable, super lightweight shirts, pants, and shorts of the Summer Weight Collection from Proper.
A perfect pistol for self-protection? Smith & Wesson's M&P 2.0 Compact. Big enough to shoot easily, small enough to carry daily. Plenty of ammo to get the job done with 15 rounds of 9mm. Also available in 40 and 45 calibers. All the great M&P 2.0 enhanced features, now in a compact size for carry and home protection. Check it out at smith-wesson.com.
And
we're back.
It's just, if you could just hear what goes on in the breaks, I tell you, it's, or it's certainly probably best that you can't.
You don't.
Oh my gosh. And people are thinking, well, wait, you say pretty much everything during the after show anyway. Oh, well, not quite.
No.
Not quite.
We got some coot and decorum.
That's right. My range report continues, he says. So, shot the 10. Liked it. Pat took her 9mm M&P out and shot that. She hadn't shot in, I'm going to be embarrassed, it's like been a year.
Oh.
And she is just drilling holes.
Girl.
She's shooting great. It's kind of like, and here's the thing. Once you get it. At first, she was shooting low and left. No surprise at all, right? For a right-handed shooter.
Right.
And I was just kind of doing a little coaching about that. And once I had to start thinking in terms of just don't try to time a shot, don't try to get it perfect, just continue to press back and just let it happen. Don't make it happen.
Anticipate, yeah.
All of a sudden, the shots came right up in the bullseye, and she's shooting great. And she's just like, oh, yeah, I got this. She loves her M&P.
So that old saying is right. Shoot like a girl if you can.
That's right.
If you can, yeah. But then I introduced her to something new, and she went crazy, which is I had my 357 Magnum 3-inch barrel out there, and I brought some of those CCI snake loads, 30-inch special snake loads.
Yeah.
She started shooting those. She shot up all my ammo.
Well, that's only 20 rounds.
Well, yeah, we had several boxes. So, she was like, oh. And because I threw some sticks out on the ground, and I said, okay, now pretend that's a snake. And she does not like snakes. Let me just tell you, that would have been like the most perforated snake ever. Because I think they're like 9-shot, little bitty shot. They may even be smaller than that.
Yeah.
But man, it's fun because you shoot on the ground and you get this cloud of dust, and you have a pattern about the size of a dinner plate, maybe. Have you shot them, Michelle?
I have, but it's been a long time ago. Yeah.
They're cool.
Yeah.
If you're in snake country, it's not a bad way to go.
Well, we actually were helping out one of our, sounds crazy, one of our local dairy farmers had a problem with rats in their grain.
Right.
Yeah. And so without tearing up their barn, that's what we used.
Sure. That makes sense.
Yep.
Now, how different is it from like snake shot that I've shot?
Well,
or a snake shot versus
snake shot.
It's
rat shot? Same thing?
Yeah, it's called bird shot. Shot shells is what
bird
it
shot,
is.
rat shot, critter shot, whatever you want. I think they're all the same. It's like size 9 shot, something like that.
Little
Maybe
tiny,
10 or 11 little tiny guys. I mean, they don't go very far, but then you don't have to. But man, it's just fun. So anybody who's not done that, I would encourage you to, if you can find them. Sometimes those are hard to get a hold of. I don't know if you guys have any problem getting them, Michelle. But
lately we seem to, but I can tell you, a year or 2 years ago, we couldn't find anything.
It's because Tom's wife bought it all.
I was gonna say,
That's right.
Especially in 38s. Actually, is that only a 10 round? Is that 10 or 20 in a box?
It's a 10-round box.
Yeah.
Yes, it's a 10-round box.
Yeah,
yes.
now that I said 20, but I was thinking, I'm like, no, that's not even 20.
So she shot up my ammo, right? So we go to the grocery store, and we're up here in Idaho, And I wander over to the gun section of the grocery store. And I'm not kidding. I mean, it's like a real upscale grocery store. And you go over there, and they have rifles and shotguns and Glocks and ammo for everything.
Awesome.
It's a whole little bitty, gun store. And so I bought some. What I needed? I need some practice 9 because she shot up all of her 9, which is a good thing, and some defensive 9mm ammo. So got some of that. And I said, you wouldn't happen to have any snake shot? He says, no, I don't think so. I said, those 38 special CCI? He says, oh, we got those. Same deal, like you said. Some people call them snake shot, some people call it bird shot, whatever. But they actually had those at the grocery store. So, yep.
How cool.
So there we are. We got milk and we've got ammo. So
you have a smart gun. It eats whatever you put in it.
Send it to Joe Biden.
You say that. It is one of the things you like about a 357, isn't it?
Yes. Absolutely.
I mean, you can shoot full-blown magnums. You can shoot light loads. Oh, we shot some wad cutters out of it, and Pat shot those. And, they're soft shooting, but also, and it's going to sound so shallow, they make really neat holes.
Yes, they do.
In paper.
Yes, they do.
I mean, that's what they're designed for, is to cut these beautiful little round holes.
And your thumb doesn't hurt when you reload it.
Nice.
Unless you're doing it wrong.
Yeah, right.
Now, when you walk around at that time, you said you carried in 357. Is that a second gun for snakes, or would you wouldn't carry it with snake because then you wouldn't have other good defense rounds in it?
You'd have to figure out, what is the priority. Probably.
Like a speed loader of it?
Probably do. No, I would probably load the first 2 chambers of the revolver with snake loads.
Okay.
Like if I'm in this area where I'm going to have to worry about possibly snakes, but also possibly wolves, bears, or lions.
Right.
I can get to the 3rd shot really fast by going bang, bang, bang.
Gotcha.
And, we'll just throw out the first 2 shots of snake shot. But that way, the first shot's going to be a snake load.
Gotcha. Okay.
It's just a way to, and I don't know. It's like I hear people talk about with their home defense shotguns, Michelle, where they say, well, I alternate between slugs and buckshot, or the first 2 are this, and going,
right.
Yeah, but the problem is you don't know what the situation's going to be.
Exactly. And in all honesty, when you have an intruder and it's that close and personal,
you think you're going to be thinking, the 7th round is a
right.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, it's a terrible thought process. I get it, but that's where we have to go.
It is. Well, and honestly, if you're for home defense, I'm going buckshot every time in a shotgun because it's immensely lethal and effective. As one of the instructors, I will not name him, put it. He said, "With a pistol, you shoot somebody. With a shotgun, you disassemble them."
Yeah. Well, and
okay.
Poignant.
Mossberg and then Remington really shook up the scene with that too, with their
the Shockwave and the I can't remember what the other one's called. A little bitty non-pistol, non-shotgun, non-anything, just firearm. It's got its own designation.
Right. It's like a little.
But I will add this. I find those to be a bit difficult to aim, and I think putting a laser on one is the most brilliant idea ever.
Mm-hmm.
Because you're shooting from the hip, right?
Right.
Unless you really want to put that stock up against your forehead or something, which I wouldn't admit, wouldn't advise doing.
Right.
But yeah, you stick a laser on that. Now you've got a defensive rig for sure. I'm still kind of partial to a stock though, because I could aim better with a shotgun with a stock. And you could have a situation where you need to make a longer shot.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
When you get into these defensive shooting classes with shotguns, one of the things they do is they teach you to take headshots. And even with a hostage, and you only have half a head, you can hit the bad guy and not hit the hostage with the shotgun.
Not such with a pistol grip's a much tougher shot versus a stock. On that shot
Probably
you're describing.
So.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's a case of basically aiming off to the side and using just the edge of the pattern to hit the bad guy.
Pattern? What?
Pattern? Huh?
What's
no,
that?
they spray across the whole room.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, that's right. They fill the room. That's
you
right.
just got to point in their general direction.
Well, you just rack the slide on it and people will run away. So,
yeah, there's that.
That's Shotgun Joe tells
Thanks,
us, right?
Joe. You're brilliant,
yeah.
buddy.
I will admit I only caught up with the replay of the debates. I could not subject myself to watching them.
Agreed.
Couldn't do it.
Agreed.
But the parts I watched, it's just kind of like, they all went according to script of who could get crazier on gun stuff. They're all there now.
Yep.
So, okay, at least we know. And, you know, I think that's a good thing because there are going to be an awful lot of people who might have been on the fence about it, who are going to listen to that and go, really? You guys want to take away my guns, and I'm a good person. I'm out. Mm-hmm. I think they're going to drive voters away.
I hope that's the way it works, because then there's all those other people that the media has been playing to of how bad, playing on your emotion and feeling thing here, how bad it is. And I truly believe this is why for 4 or 5 days, a prolonged period of time, they show over and over and over again the footage on these, what I'm going to say, air quote, mass shootings.
Mm-hmm.
And
it fits our narrative.
It does.
Supports it.
It's just, and you know, for me, if they can take away this thing, the government can take away, you know, your right to own a firearm in this case, then it just opens the door for them.
Take away your sports car or anything else.
Anything else. Then your hammer, then your baseball bat, then your, you know.
More than that, if they can say you don't have a Second Amendment right, they can say you don't have a First Amendment right.
Any rights.
Mm-hmm.
They could say, okay, no, I'm sorry. And of course, they try it now. They have free speech zones at universities.
Mm-hmm.
You know, the rest of the area is not. There's no free speech in the rest of the area. But if you stand in this little square, you have free speech. And you know, every university student should be screaming and hollering about that and say, no. Free speech exists everywhere because we have the Constitution of the United States.
Yep.
And I thought that was a fascinating piece brought up during your show too, with the legislation act that was just passed. You know, it does not allow us to congregate and discuss and show what we like.
Yep. Banning gun shows prevents us from assembling. And so they challenged it on First Amendment basis, and that was what prevailed.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Very interesting.
Smart on their behalf.
Some smart guys on our side, gals.
Yes.
Yeah.
The problem is
thank goodness.
So much money.
Yeah, it is. It truly is. So,
after this break, I'll give you my take on the Democratic debate, and you can tell me whether I'm full of beans or not.
Okay, we'll take the break. You give us your take. I won't be here. I'll leave.
Okay.
All right. We'll do it.
Whether you are a first-timer or seasoned shooter, Double Star has the guns, edged weapons, and parts you desire. Our products are made in America and held to the highest quality standards. No exceptions. Double Star and Ace Limited manufactures products people bet their lives on without hesitation. That awesome responsibility motivates the Double Star family, and it will proudly protect yours. When you're ready for the best, join our family at star15.com. That's star15.com.
You got your carry permit, and that's good. But you know you could use more training. Get the DVDs, which have what you need. Springfield Armory presents Concealed Carry 1 and Concealed Carry 2 with Batagroup. Learn specific concealed carry skills from Top Gun fighting trainers. Get trained. Be prepared. This really is life and death. ShopGunTalk.com. That's ShopGunTalk.com.
All right, so Jim has his thoughts on the Democratic candidates debate, the never-ending mini-series that became the debate, right?
Yeah, cue the violins. Based on what I saw, on all of the folks I saw, which was literally, I saw 10 minutes of highlights because I couldn't watch it either. I watched it after the fact, the what you call highlights. If any of those candidates can beat Trump, I just got to throw my hands up for humanity because we're lost. They're all idiots. And if that many people can support any of those folks, we're in deep doo-doo.
I agree. I'm concerned. You know, I think, you know, and I know it's all connected and all of that. I think the situation with the NRA is even worse than we thought. It keeps devolving. Mm-hmm. I'm not sure how effective they will be, if at all, in the election, and that's important this year, coming or next year with the election. Did you see? I think we may have talked about before. Piers Morgan, who I'm not a fan of generally, he wrote a piece. He says Trump's going to win handily. See, anybody that doesn't get that is just not paying attention. I thought, well, that's interesting because he's not a Trump supporter at all.
Right.
Yeah. Now you may be right. This may be a false flag deal of frightening the Democrats into getting their act together. But you know, even with that, I I'm like you. I'm looking at these candidates and thinking, who could they put up there? Of course, wait, let me back up. Whoever they put up will not be the same person as he or she is today, because they have to act really loony and wacky to get the nomination, but then they're going to have to act like a real person to get the election, to get the White House. Yeah.
Oprah 2020.
Well, could be good for gun sales, as they say, if they just go wacky enough and call for confiscation.
Oh my God.
That's when I bought my first AR, was when the Bill Clinton gun ban was about to go into effect in 1994. And I'd never had an AR, didn't care about them. I was a bolt-action Woodstock, not the music place, but a Woodstock place. And I went out and bought 2 ARs just because I said, you know what, if they're going to tell me I can't have them, I'm going to buy them.
Yep.
And that's how I got started on ARs.
And you're not alone there, brother. Millions of other people followed you then, and about 15 years back. Well, not 15 years, before the election with Hillary.
Yeah.
That was a big
holy
scare
cow,
there.
people are buying guns like crazy. So, and that slump of everybody buying, I think, is starting to ease a bit, and people are starting to go back and buy guns and ammo now. Oh, yes. As we are speaking today, it's the last day of June, so tomorrow. Let's see, in Washington State, they have all sorts of new regs there. In California, they have the ammo background check. It'll be fascinating to see if the system actually works or if it just simply craters, because I suspect they have no idea how many people buy ammo. I just think and maybe by design, maybe they don't want it to work. Maybe they want to just shut it down so you can't buy ammo.
Well, on the topic of California exodus, they recently passed a $215 billion expenditure.
Yeah.
For more ridiculous stuff.
If you're like whatever it is, $400 trillion or $1 billion in debt, and you show a surplus of $25 million, the surplus is for the year. It's not where you are financially. And by the way, California can't print money the way the U.S. government can.
Right. And all of that
see.
$250 billion went to illegal immigrant programs to promote more of it, and healthcare and everything else. And it passed.
A lot of votes there.
It passed. Yeah.
A lot of votes there.
Yep.
So there's that. And I have 2 good friends who, one just bought a house in Lake Havasu. So he's leaving California, and one is moving to Boise, leaving California. It's like just leaving. He said, fight the good fight, but at a certain point, I'm just out of here. This is crazy town.
Yep.
Which doesn't bode well. It basically leaves the crazies in charge. So that's not a good thing either, but I don't know what else you do.
Well, I like your idea about another wall.
Build a wall.
Build a wall around California.
Yeah, we might just extend it all the way up through Oregon and Washington, too.
Just go from Mexico all the way up into Canada. We're good.
Yeah, I don't know. To all my friends in Oregon, we're just joking, kind of, sort of. But I know you understand.
Yep.
They get it.
That's got to be frustrating to be, or if you're anchored where you can't get out for whatever reasons, business, family, whatever, you can't up and
most
leave.
Most people can't.
Yeah,
most people can't leave.
That's got to be frustrating as hell.
And look, California is a great state if you leave off the nutty politics. Mm-hmm. It really is. But they're ruining. I mean, it's like reading reports of parts of San Francisco are like Mumbai or Calcutta or something, with the homeless everywhere and what's going on there. It's just nuts.
Well, they're getting all kind of sanitation issues too.
Oh yes, yeah,
big time.
A lot of that. So, but then again, then how do you take that and spit it back around to how are you going to get support for gun rights out of crazies like that? And at a certain point, I hate to say this, it may be unrecoverable. The numbers may be, it's like when they hit a supermajority in the legislature, there may be no way back. And I think that's what a lot of these folks are doing. They're looking at it and going, okay, from the realistic standpoint, in my lifetime, this cannot be fixed. So I'm not going to spend the rest of my life here. I'm going to go somewhere where I feel free.
Mm-hmm.
Case in point, my buddy who moved to Lake Havasu, you'll love this, because I had no idea. And he said, he says, I went to the store in Arizona and I needed some spray paint, and you just walk to the shelf and you pull it off. And I go, yeah, so? He says, oh, no, you don't understand. In California, spray paint is locked behind grids and gates. You can't go pick up spray paint because people misuse it. They do graffiti. Therefore, they have locked up the spray paints.
Are people listening to
You have to show
ID.
ID.
Yep.
confiscation.
Well, this kind of ties into guns, Tom, but if it keeps going with this downward spiral and they keep getting more and more and more restrictive on gun rights, at some point it's going to be the Wild West, more so than the Wild West ever really was, factually. You're going to have just tons of illegal immigrants and crime and sanitation issues and no way to protect yourself. I mean, I think a lot of people even now, not just for the freedom, but for their property values and stuff. They could sell now and possibly recoup. You wait another 5 years, you're going to be in big trouble if things continue to spiral, which I don't see an end to it. I think they're whack jobs, and I got family in California.
I think in some states there's no recovering. I think probably all the West Coast states, politically, not recoverable. I think they're probably there. So there you go. Yep. And I'm sorry for the folks who are there, and I appreciate the fact that you're fighting a good fight, and it's good to do that because we are winning. We were talking about it earlier. We may not be winning in the legislatures, but we're winning in the courts. And if you can get the courts to say, okay, legislatures, you can't do what you're trying to do. That is actually against the law. That's unconstitutional. That is if you will, continue that is the wall that stops a lot of this. They say, no, you can't ban guns that are in common use. That's the Heller decision. It says guns are in common use, cannot be banned. AR-15s are in common use, done deal. You can't do this anymore. Stop. That's where we're going to probably end up having to win completely is in the courts.
So
the real battlefield's at the ballot box.
Right. But people have to be aware of what those decisions say. And people don't, they're wordy, they're lengthy. Sometimes they don't make sense if you just go through and read them. But you do have to make yourself aware of what's contained within the
Yeah, and I would hope that a lot of the Gun Talk listeners are more plugged in than the general gun-owning public, possibly. But I find that the only way that I can understand what's going on is to be on the email list from state organizations, from the national organizations. I mean, Buckeye Firearms, Oregon Firearms. I mean, whoever, the Texas Rifle and Pistol,
California Pistol.
I mean, all the rest of them. And I'm on the list for states that I don't live in, just because I want to know what's going on. And to your point, they explain stuff. I guess, Michelle, is because you were saying these are wordy and they're legal documents, and they're right. You read them and you're going, I don't really know what this is saying. Mm-hmm. But when you get the email, you go, oh, we won. Okay, that's good, because I read it. I wasn't sure if that was a win or a loss.
Right. Layman's terms.
Right, yeah, just tell me. Did we win, and was it cool? How did we do that, okay? Mm-hmm. So we're winning a lot. We're losing a few in the courts, but for the most part, we're doing pretty well in the courts. The problem, I think, Michelle, you may have mentioned it earlier, the real problem there is it just costs so much money.
Right.
It's crazy. Even if you're getting a good rate from these lawyers, it's easy to burn through $100,000 to $200,000 on these cases. And if you have, like in the case of the Second Amendment Foundation, I think we've got 35 cases we're working on at the moment. Yeah.
Holy cow.
Yeah. It's amazing how much money you can burn through. But at the same time, you have to. You have to do it. And that's when I'm going to circle all the way back. If anybody can find, pick your number. You say, okay, if you skipped buying Starbucks, you could probably find $20 or $25 a month or whatever it is. Everybody can say, I could stop doing X and find $20 a month. I mean, what are we talking about? $4, $5 a week. I mean, come on, $1 a day. Throw that in the kitty and pick your group. But if you would, pick somebody who's actually active in the courts, who's actually not just filing amicus, because that's a Me Too thing in many cases, but actually filing the suits, who's actually bringing the lawsuits to court and winning. Find people who are actually good at this stuff.
Here's a hybrid idea for you, Tom. Cool. Instead of doing the Starbucks thing, or in conjunction with, do you remember a few weeks back we had a topic we were talking about uses for ammo cans, and the guy said he threw all his change in there, and every couple of years it fills up, and then he cashes in at $600-700. There's a perfect example of what you could do. Use an ammo can, keep the change in it. Yeah, loose change. It really doesn't. And technically it's money, but it doesn't. You don't value it as you've got 37 cents. Yeah. You throw it in a jar. You don't think about it. Yeah, and at the end of the year or month, whatever, you donate it to something legislative to help our cause. You're doing something for guns.
I like it. It's easy. Everybody has loose change laying around. It's a good idea.
Yeah, sorry to steal that guy's idea because he was using it to buy guns and stuff. But this is pretty important stuff.
Save guns.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. All right, you get to work on that marketing plan. Michelle, you're in charge, okay?
Well, I think it's, to what you're saying, I think at this point in time, and 4th of July is coming up, and, all those people go out and they shoot a cannon or guns or whatever it is. Mm-hmm. One, it's its own safety concern.
Yeah.
But two, I think to a large part, we just need to be a patriot to what we feel is important to us. Truly go out there and be verbal and show up at the primary elections and all these other general elections that are there, and just be active, be seen, be heard if you have to.
Do more than just stand there and put your hand over your heart when they're playing the national anthem at the 4th of July. I get it. That's great. You should do that. But maybe that's your chance to make your own personal pledge to yourself that I am actually going to get involved. Not involved. I'm really going to get engaged and be part of it. It's going to be part of my life to do this stuff.
Yep. We have to be patriots.
There it is. We have to be patriots. I like it. All right, guys. Well, have yourself a great week. I'm going to go. I guess I got to buy more snake loads.
I'm going to go see if I can get engaged. Got to find a gal.
Some people just don't quite get the whole English language.
Don't grasp the very much.
I'll talk to him when we're done.
He's not too bright.
That's right. Have a great week, guys.
See you, man.
Bye.
Well, that wraps up another Gun Talk After Show. But if you want even more gun-related stuff, don't forget to check out Gundealio. It's the app for Apple and Android phones that connects you to all the Gun Talk shows, plus even more. And we'll catch you next time for the Gun Talk After Show.